Yeah.
What up, folks? It's Sul, Jiu-Jitsu, and we have the man, the myth, and legend, Valor. I've trained with you a little bit. I got to watch my feet and ankles no matter what. You know all the rules, so it doesn't matter if I'm in gi and no gi. You're a pleasure to work with. Definitely an inspiration. What's going on, man? You've been competing a lot. You're teaching a lot. What's going on with you today?
Yeah, man. Just, training. Got some competitions lined up for like the end of the year. Okay. No-gi Worlds, no-gi Pans, maybe some super fights. But yeah, now just training, trying to stay sharp, and yeah, teaching a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So let's, there's a lot of things I can ask you. I guess what is your favorite part about what you do at this point in your training, right? Because there has to be something that keeps you motivated.
Yeah. I think it's like the exploration of different positions. Like you just get like immediate feedback right away if you structure your training like in a certain way. And that feedback can be negative as well. But I think that's like just as important because then you start to like hammer out all the deficiencies in the spots. And but yeah, I think just like exploring different positions and just like positional sparring and just trying to learn and level up from all these little spots, like it never ends. It literally never ends.
Right. And I want to touch on that too. So you've been training for how long now? 12?
About 10? 11 years. Okay. There's like a year that took me out with like a concussion. That was pretty bad from a car accident. But besides that, it's been pretty... Oh, and I broke my arm too. So that was like another 3-4 months or something. But yeah, so besides that, yeah, about 10 years of actual training.
So people, if you're complaining that you've missed training because of this or that, like I just had a kid, so my schedule sucks. Like I need to shut up and just be happy. If someone can come back from like a serious injury and still have the motivation to continue, you can do it. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Okay, so you found jiu-jitsu. Was that your first martial art, or how did you come across this?
Just the classic pipeline of being an MMA fan to being like, oh, that like submission stuff is pretty cool. Like, can we test that out? So like early on, watching UFCs and watching like Damian Maia and Nate Diaz. Those were probably the two people who I saw do a lot of cool shit, and I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. So yeah. Okay. I just dove into it after that.
All right. No, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So it's how a lot of people get started. Okay. So when did you start competing?
Right away. I think, I actually started training when I was like 20. Okay. I started in November of 2013, I think. And then I had my first competition February.
Nice.
So a few months in, I did a Naga like everyone does at first, usually. Same. At least for my generation, Naga was like the gold standard as a first tournament. And just fell in love with it after that. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the bug early, and were you doing no-gi and gi at the time, or just gi?
I was training both, but I think that day I only competed no-gi. Okay. And came out with the dub, and nice. I was hooked after that. Yeah.
That's so fun. What were you? Okay, I have to ask you this because I talked about my experience. Did your coaches like kind of convince you to compete, or did you just see it was coming up and you're like, hey, I want to do it? How did that?
So I think Naga sends out all these like posters like promoting their competitions, and I saw the championship belt, and I was like, oh, I want that championship belt. Yeah. And I was sorely disappointed when I figured out that you only get the championship belt for like advanced divisions or purple
absolute
belt,
right?
Or maybe absolute as well, but definitely not for white belt novice. So I was a little bummed at that, but we eventually got the Naga championship belt.
Okay. Okay. The sun is going to kill us, but I can edit some of this. Look at all that. All right. So I'll tell you a fun story. So this is when I was training with Ernest. I saw there was a competition. All the kids were competing that day. And I was like, I'm going to sign up. So I signed up, and then no one knew I was going to be there because apparently everyone, like I wasn't loud enough about it. Did gi and no gi, won both my matches. It was the same guy.
Nice. Okay.
So I had 4 matches with the same guy. You know how Naga works.
Yeah.
I was in the Slack channel, and they were like, I was like, I'm competing today. They were like, oh crap, Sul, you're competing? So I saw Ernest, and he's like, hey man, what are you doing here? I was like, competing. He was like, dude, I've been here all day. You should have told me. I was like, I thought, okay.
You had no coaches?
Yeah, no, so I was just like out there. It was like me, my wife, my brother and sister came at that point. I don't even know. No, my sister saw my match, and I think my brother came in at the end or something.
Are they trying to coach?
Well, my sister was like,
oh my God, don't lose.
lose? And I was like, oh, hell no. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got dude. And then at the end, this is the fun part. At the end, the coaches of the guy walked over and they were like, hey man, that was pretty good because he's the toughest guy in our gym.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it was a pretty good performance. They were like, how long you been training? I was like, only a couple months, dude.
Yeah.
So I took the video back to Ernest and he was like, man, there's no way that would work on anybody who knows what they're doing. Look at that. You got to fix this. You got to fix that. And I was like, all right, I guess back
to reality.
I was like, all right, I guess I'm one of the gang now because I went to do it because this is important, right? Because before it was like, oh, just train, have fun. Now it's like, that's not going to work, bro. You got to put your, nope, that's not, see, let me show you, see. Yeah. So that was hilarious.
Yeah.
The question I like to ask everybody, especially you folks, like at your skill level, instructors and, black belts, people who've been at it for a while. How important is it to compete? Because I feel like there's something for everyone, but everyone has a different school of thought, right? Because there's the dads like myself who are like, I don't want to get hurt, or, I mean, I love to compete, obviously, but then there's folks who are like, I don't know if I want to feel that. I feel like at least once they should try it, but what's your take on that?
No, I think that's a good call. Like at least once. I think it's beneficial just to like pressure test everything that you think you know.
Right.
And yeah, because it's a different vibe in the gym. Like especially when you've been rolling with people for years and years, you develop like these little cycles that you go through over and over again. You know what they're going to do. They know what you're going to do for the most part. And the only other thing that's closer to competition would be like going to an open mat. Where you've never been before, and their instructors there, their star students
home
there.
field advantage. You don't have it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And they're trying to take your head off and like represent their school.
Yep.
So that's like kind of close. But even that, like, it's not really the same, especially at like white belt tournaments when like you're dealing with someone who's gonna have like the spazziest death grips ever, and you. Yeah. I always think of it like quicksand, like those white belts. It's like they have so much nervous energy, and if you like play into that, you're just getting dragged down into that nervous energy quicksand.
I love it so much.
So it's like like keeping your composure, trying to do everything you know under fire. I think it's very beneficial. And then it's a skill in itself. Like the more you do it, the better you get with handling that the nerves and whatnot. So I think that can play into a lot of different aspects of life.
I like that. That. Yeah, because so it's funny. So speed run of Aikido, there's no competition. Like everyone's trying to like tell you who's better or whatever, but like you can't really tell because it's all based on cooperation. It's all drilling.
Yeah.
So Aikido is 100% drilling. That's it.
Right.
Like that's the mutual agreement you have when you train. But then you get the folks who are like, well, I want to teach and I'm this rank. So like, oh no, you'd never be able to do this. So then you get these like little micro encounters where someone's like, I'm stopping you, but it's just like, what do we do here? Like
stopping you by just grabbing your wrist.
When does it stop? Or it goes into like the never-ending loop of what if. It's not everybody, but it's just like, well, I could do this, and it's just like, all right, this I'm not learning now.
Yeah.
But I went to jiu-jitsu. I was like, I have to compete. I was like, I have to do it at least once to know what it feels like, because I have to prove to myself that. Not that my training wasn't valid, but there was just something that I was looking for. And I was like, I have to prove that I can just do this competition thing.
Yeah.
Because like, I've seen it. I feel like I have that competitive spirit. So I was like, let me just try it. I'll do one and then just see what happens. Like it might be good. It might be bad. I might win. I might lose.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I like this stuff. Let me do more. And then I got blue belt. I think I did like 4 that year at blue belt. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is it. Yeah. And then I did 1 at purple belt, and then obviously I had the kid. But I was like, I gotta keep doing this.
Yeah. Like
I have to. Like every time I compete, I feel like I learn something. Win, lose, whatever. I'm like, oh man. Because my game in the gym, like you said, there's like the homies. They know. I know there's half guard guy. There's the guy that knows I play open guard. I'm gonna shoot for triangles. Like there's that whole dynamic. And also, my friends in the gym aren't going to try to hurt me. They have nothing to prove it. And because the pecking order is the pecking order. Yeah. We all know, right? In our training hall. But like at competition, you got folks who are just like, I don't care. Like you can literally tear my foot off. I won't. You know.
Yeah. There's people like who are training to do bodily harm to you. Like they don't care if your arm breaks. They don't care if your ankle separates. Like that's what we signed up for.
Yeah. So for me, it was nice to feel that competitive thing because it it gave me a sense of reality that I didn't get from Aikido.
Yeah.
And it also gave me a sense of realism that I knew wasn't in Aikido, where like, you have to know like, okay, this is all, there's some things that are valid and there's some things that are just concepts on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? You're preserving a piece of martial arts history. But then you got the folks who are like, oh, in a bar, like the keyboard folks, right?
Sure. Yeah. There's so many what ifs, and I think that's what separates jiu-jitsu from a lot of martial arts. And I don't know. I tend to find like traditional martial arts like pretty cringe for the most part. I don't know. That's just me. Like I don't know. Like
I mean, generation wise, yes. Like, but also, I mean, those dudes. Sorry to cut you off. Like those folks, like Chuck Norris was the guy who brought the Machado brothers over.
Sure. Yeah.
And all that. So they knew a lot of those old karate guys went to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and to further the point on that, it's just I find it more cringe when there's no like live aspect to the training at all, and it's all just like filled in with, we're gonna bow to this picture, we're gonna pray to our belt every time we get a new belt. Like seeing stuff like that just makes me not want to be part of martial arts. I don't know. That's just something personal for me where it's just like it's so cringe and I can't handle it. And I enjoy that jiu-jitsu has a bit more of a laid-back atmosphere, and it's not as like cultish with all the rituals and things like that.
Yeah, I want to touch on that. And folks, you know me well enough to know that, you know how I feel about this stuff. I feel like there's something for everybody, even the cult. Because I did the Aikido thing for a long time. But like as weird as Aikido was, the gyms I trained in or training halls were way different. Like it wasn't, how do I put it?
Different in a good way, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. There was like less culty, but and the folks who were overly culty didn't last long because they wanted to be like, oh, overly master. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then there's some folks like, I don't have to say their names because they know, and they probably will see this podcast because I'm talking about Aikido. Like they came from cult world and then tried to recreate it, and I'm like, there's something for everybody. So for me, I separate it this way. There's the actual physical training. It's an activity. It's a gym. There's some people want to join a social club. They want to go play bingo. They want to go play, tennis or something. They join an activity. Then there's the part of, oh, look, we have a visitor. Hey, man. Then there's the part where, this is the part that gets me, where I separate it. Then there's a part of, I'm doing this activity because I love it. It's a piece of martial training, but I do understand that this is not in any way designed to be like a sophisticated combat system.
Yeah. Okay.
This is presented to me. This is an activity. Like I know people, I'll ask them, I'm like, hey, so why are you training? They're like, oh, I want to exercise, whatever. And Aikido's cool. Like I got into it because I like the flips and the falling. That's really what got me into it. My dad was like,
amazing.
hey, and I'm going to try to do something with that.
Yeah.
Like, because in jiu-jitsu, apparently people just don't.
Oh my God. Yeah. No matter how many break falls you do, it's not going to prepare you for someone who's really trying to dump you on your head.
I got to talk to you about that because I did a short little podcast thing about that because I did Tap Cancer Out a couple years ago, and this dude double-legged me like 5 times, and every time I was just ready. I just got right back up because I was like, okay, I know what's happening. I'm equipped. I want a match like that. Some dude at Grappling Industries hit me with one of those, and then I just put him in a triangle.
Nice.
Yeah. But and then there's a match at I had where it was 15 double legs, I think, and that was our match. That's all he did was no, he just double legged me over, and then I got out of the side mount, and then blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it was just double leg, and at the end I was just laughing because I was just like, yo, this okay. I need to work on my...
Yeah, and at least a double leg, it's like, oh, I'm just going backwards. I can kind of adjust for that and fall the right way. But
I was ragdolled, and I was like,
when they're tough, like judo guy or something, like, we don't know which way is up, which way is down. You're just like, oh, I'm on the ground now.
This is it.
Sucks, yeah.
Okay. So back to my point, like, then there's the folks who, and I have some, unfortunately, I know some folks who are like this, and that's just their take on it. They're like, well, I would do this. And I'm like, well, and they're like, oh, there was this time I was on the street. And I'm like, yeah, but, there's scenario, there's encounters and there's altercations, whatever. But you can't guarantee, like, even with all the jiu-jitsu I think I know and have done, I can't guarantee that some idiot at Target or Wawa or some such place won't just grip me up. I'm small, dude. Which means someone's going to try to grab me. I can't guarantee my jiu-jitsu versus some like, you know, amped up on meth, you know, guy who's like, I'm gonna just wreck you. Like I'll probably have to run.
Yeah, there are so many what ifs. Does this person have a friend with them? Is there a knife, a gun? What surface are you fighting on?
Right. But then there's the people where they usually meet me here. And then sometimes they don't. And this is where I'm like, all right, this conversation's over. When they're talking about altercations, they're like, oh, I was at a bar or some like that. I'm like, okay. With what you know now, do you really think you could actually, in a controlled environment, because that's the only way you can test. You can't just stand out on the street and be like, let me fight people. Because even if you win, you're going to jail, right?
Yeah.
So a controlled environment, like come and train. We'll like lock the doors, you know, no cameras and like, why don't we just get in there? You show me your most effective stuff and then let me just do whatever thing I come up with. I'll MMA jiu-jitsu you and you can do your stuff. Oh, you're missing the point. It's not like that. I'm like, okay, well.
Yeah.
And then you have the folks who are like, okay, well, I hear you. But against someone who doesn't know anything, I feel like I have an advantage because martial arts should teach you like awareness. You should have some kind of posture, so your confidence and things like that. So you're probably less likely maybe to get attacked, but it depends, right? But then some people kind of know stuff, like if you're good at hip throws, even in Aikido world, if you can make a hip throw work, maybe. But then again, there's that part where in traditional martial arts, like you said, where people aren't actually doing things under pressure. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I think, if you haven't sparred a lot, you don't really know, like, I don't know how much violence can scale up. Like even in the very controlled atmosphere of a gym with matted and everything, like if someone rips an armbar on you, you quickly understand like, oh, if I didn't tap, or this dude wasn't looking out for my safety, I'm having a life-changing injury on my arm right now, or I'm going to put to sleep and I might not wake up again or something like that. And yeah, if you're separated from that, I think it breeds a lot of charlatans. And that's like the creepiest aspect of traditional martial arts, but it's even infecting jiu-jitsu too, where it's like people want to get a black belt as like a prerequisite to become a cult leader, basically, and it's pretty disgusting. Yeah, they just want their little like insulated community of people who aren't going to call them on their shit, and that leads to a lot of, you know.
How common is that? Like leaving names, affiliation, and things aside, because we know there's people everywhere. Yeah. Because in Aikido world, let me say this first. Yeah. In Aikido, it is pay to play. The reason I don't have a 5th degree black belt, I was recommended because they wanted $1,000 for it. I was like, that dude. I was like, look, I'm not. No, you know, you don't. I did my 4th, which was, what was that, like $400 or something? But at the time, that made sense because I was running an Aikido program and I was traveling and I was making money off of it. Yeah. So as professional as you can get, I was getting paid to run my program. I didn't have rent when I was teaching. Yeah. So like it was just all profit. And then I would do a couple seminars here and there, nothing like really big, or I would call them workshops. I'd be like, oh, let's do a falling workshop. Yeah. And you figured you charge $50, $60, you get 20, 25 people. It's not bad. So that was like my thing then. But like in Aikido, like the rank just ruins everybody. I'm this degree, so my technique has to work because I'm this rank. And I'm just like, no, pop, it won't. Yeah. And they're always old. It's always the older, dudes. And they're like, oh, when I was your age, I'm like, no, you wouldn't. No, if you were my age, I'd still kick you. Yeah. So you're saying that does exist in jiu-jitsu a little bit?
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah,
God,
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely within this state. It's within all of jiu-jitsu. Like and I think a lot of the time it's like not as high profile people. Like maybe they don't have a huge Instagram presence or whatever, but occasionally you see them pop up somewhere. You hear stories from other people, and it's it's fairly prevalent. Because I mean, jiu-jitsu's kind of getting watered down like other sports as well. It's like,
well, people are promoted faster. Yeah. Well, then we'll come back to that. But like, all right. So I've trained with a couple of dudes. You may have seen them, and you may have made a face at me. So I remember Ernest said something about this guy. I was working with Ernest. And he just stopped mid-roll. I was like, dude, what's up? Because I was doing something, and I was like, I'm finally gonna get him. And he's like, who is that? I was like, I don't know that guy. Oh, he's like, you rolled with him? I was like, yeah, beat the shit out of him. He's like, that guy's not a black belt.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I should not be able to. And I talked to somebody else, and they were like, "Oh, maybe he's just having a bad day." I'm like, "He's having a lot of bad days, man."
Yeah, I mean, there's the people who are just in it and they get their black belt through time. Like you're basically just like a blue belt who hung around for long enough and you get promoted. Or there's like the people who pay for their black belt, like the Derek Moneyberg thing. Yeah. So there's a lot of people like that who are just like, I don't know. Yeah, they're in it for just the rank and the appeal of it, like the look of it.
Yeah, because I know. I mean, look, I'm an older dude doing this, but I feel like in Aikido you didn't have this. It was pay to play, and like I can't put that template over Jiu-Jitsu maybe because I'm just too new to it. But I at least see, because this is a problem in Aikido, and it used to drive me mad. People just get promoted, like, oh, they're testing. I'm like, how the hell is he? Well, Sul's been training, blah, 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 and this guy started with him, so I'll promote him with Sul. I'm like, how the hell is that? Like, there's no way in hell.
And there's a testing fee, right?
Yeah, I'm like, well, there you go, there's your answer, right? But I'm like, how? But no, but when you get the black belt, that fee doesn't go to the gym. That fee goes to, that's an affiliation fee.
Oh, it's
to reach your black belt, that whatever fee, that $300 or $200, whatever it is, goes to the federation thing, and then money goes to Japan. That doesn't go to, in our, where we were. Now, there's some affiliations where that training hall is the affiliation. Yeah. So yeah, you paying Papa Bear that $300, $400, right? Unless there's a split and cut there that I don't know about, but I don't know. I've been trying to, I haven't seen that, but maybe I'm just, it's below my pay grade, but there were a few people, not a lot. There were a couple, at least 3 dudes that popped up at our gym. And I was just like, one was right before I got purple belt and one was after purple belt. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do with this guy. And I was so happy. I was like, wait. I was like, you got to train with somebody else because you can't go thinking in your notes like, yep, I'm just having black belts now. Look, it's a purple belt. This is how it works. Leveled up. Hashtag brown belt 3 months.
I think with jiu-jitsu, like maybe the money doesn't go back to some whatever overarching jiu-jitsu council or something like that. But it's like indirectly these school owners they're incentivized to keep these students coming back. So they're like, you got a stripe. Oh, you got a belt. I know.
Yeah, you.
And then I remember as a blue belt, before I like kind of knew the levels to anything, I rolled with just some random brown belt and some random like black belt. And I did well with them. I think I tapped both of them and I was like riding high off of that. And then, I don't know, then on the drive back, I was just like, I don't know, that didn't seem right. Yeah, and then when you start talking to more experienced people, you're like, oh yeah, like these are people who, I don't know, they've just been in it for a certain amount of time or whatever the case is. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's something to that because there's time-based promotions for people who are consistent, right? Yeah. So there's 3 days a week guy, there's 2 days a week guy, and then there's like I live at the gym. Yeah. I live at the gym is probably going to just black belt sooner.
Sure. Right. Yeah, and I don't want to discourage like the older practitioner who got his brown belt or his black belt after being in this sport for 10 years. Like that's awesome. I think you have to judge people relative to where they're at. So exactly. Like, if you're thinking about ranking your 45-year-old family man to like black belt or something like that, you should probably judge him according to people around his age and his size and his rank. And that's like probably the best way to do it. You're not going to judge him the same way as the phenom blue belt.
No, I'm talking about youngest dude, young enough, the body works, I'm physically able to do it, but I'm trying to figure out how, I'm like, yeah, dude, where did you train? Because then I guess if you're out, you had kids or something. There's probably those situations, right? Yeah. Because you lose some of it, right? You don't lose all of it.
Yeah. If you're not staying consistent, there's going to be a readjustment period for sure once you get back to a normal training schedule.
Yeah. But no, there was like with these individuals, there was like a very basic lack of knowledge for like. Sul's just gonna do like a Toriando.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna X pass you. And I was just like, all right, maybe you're trying to pull a Steve Bowers and you're just like, I'm gonna do this thing and now you're screwed, right? Oh yeah. Oh my God, you passed me. It's over.
Yeah.
All right. So there's that. Okay. So you're competing again soon. You're teaching a lot. I want to talk to you because you mentioned something a little bit about sharpening skills. How do you, I guess this is a weird question, like how do you know what to focus on, right? And how do you balance that between the stuff you like? Because you've been training long enough, and I think competition probably helps, right? Yeah. Because you know what I guess challenges you face when you're out in the field doing the thing. So how do you balance those things, like what you need to work on versus what you really want to work on, like the fun stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, I think the competition, that's like immediate feedback of things you need to work on. Like if you got your guard pass with this one technique, then even if you thought you knew how to nullify that, maybe you didn't have all the details as honed as they should be. So you go back, you try to zoom in on that spot and try to do as much like live training from those positions as possible. Right. But then I think you have to like be your own coach for the most part, and you have to just take the time to kind of analyze your game and find little spots that can connect into things you're already good with, and just keep like building those branches endlessly. Yeah.
All right. So another question, because I think this everyone I've asked about this has a different point in their training where I guess things started to click for them. At what point in your training, belt, year, whatever, you can tell me, like what was the eureka moment where you started to go, oh, here's my formula and tree of techniques I can do. If I get in this position, I can go here and do that. Like when did that start to click for you?
I feel like it still is like an ongoing process. Sometimes I feel like it's clicked and I'm like, oh, it must have clicked off at some point, and then it has to re-click again. I don't know. But I would say like a big turning point was when I started to take jiu-jitsu more seriously at brown belt. And I was kind of like, I really liked jiu-jitsu up until brown belt, and like I kind of wanted to take it more seriously and make it a bigger part of my life, but I just didn't really have the path. And then when I started to train with Nick Salas and Danny Myra over at Movement Art, they kind of opened my eyes to like another way to organize your jiu-jitsu and just like certain concepts to try to keep in mind. And I just kind of humbled myself at that point, and as a brown belt, just kind of took everything I knew with like a grain of salt and tried to like rebuild myself from the ground up.
Kind of like starting over, like I know what I've learned, but I need to like come in with fresh set of eyes and just take that critique. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like I don't know, a somewhat experienced white belt at that point. Like I know all these, I know the general outline of some of these positions, and like I know what frames are for the most part, but just kind of rehoning all those things in a new light, it kind of really helped me out, I think. Yeah.
And then did that, I guess, point in your training where you started to like specialize, I think? Was that at brown belt, or were you already?
Yeah, I would say partially when you compete a lot, I think your weight class plays into what you kind of gravitate towards a lot. So I'm in the lighter weight classes, light feather and feather every now and then, but it's a lot of guard pulling. So you have to have a good guard. You have to know how to play like the double pull game. And then these lighter guys are very good guard passers as well, because they're in their weight class, they're dealing with people who have fantastic guards. So I think it kind of helps you level up your guard play that much more to try to hang on that level for sure.
Because I'm in this pickle now, and it's there's a couple people I train with, training with the same people. There's a guy who loves to like not smash passes. He has a really interesting style of passing. I'll point him out next time you see him. And I'm like, oh, well, with him, I always play triangles. I play bottom, I play top. It doesn't happen. He's bigger than me. He's taller than me. He's stronger than me. And we have really good rolls. They're fun. I love the guy to death. But like, I just end up in the same spot, and I'm just like, well, damn, maybe I should stop fighting all existence and just play. And that's what happens at the end. I end up just playing open guard or some combination, and that ends up being our roles, regardless of the outcome. So I'm like, all right, there's no point in swimming against all the ocean, right?
Yeah, I think you have to, like, well, we talk about at Movement Art, they always say like to check all three boxes. So when you're playing guard, like you're trying to look for either a submission, a sweep, or a back take. And especially against like someone bigger and stronger than you, you kind of have to take what they give at times.
Yep.
And yeah, kind of like what you're saying, like you can't really get tunnel vision on doing one technique against someone who's bigger and stronger than you. It's gonna be tough. So that's where trying to diversify your game a little bit helps, and now you can, jump on any opportunity they give you. Yeah.
All right. So I want to go back to something. So you said you, like, at brown belt is when you really got serious about your training. What were you thinking? Like, what was your goal in terms of getting serious? Like, what did you imagine? Like, where you are now, where like you're teaching and you're traveling and competing a lot, like at a high level?
Was I before, you're saying?
Yeah. Was that kind of what you had in mind? Or
oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I loved competition. But I knew, like, I was, at that time, like, I knew I was kind of, like, good for the local scene, which is fine, but I had higher aspirations. I wanted to compete at, like, the world level and try to take it as far as I can go with it. And I think a big push towards that was when I had that car accident. Like, I had the idea at that point, like, beforehand, like, I wanted to start taking it seriously, and then, like, life can just change in, like, the blink of an eye, and out of nowhere I'm rear-ended. My car's destroyed, his car's destroyed. I had, like, these, like, crippling headaches that I dealt with for almost like a year straight. And that really, like, lit a fire under me where I was like, okay, now, like, I got to make this happen if it's going to happen. And yeah, just went full on into it, and adjusted my life around training. Like, I started doing Uber and Lyft just to be able to, like, train when I wanted to and have some more flexible income. And then
awesome.
Built the competition credentials little by little, and eventually built up enough private lesson clientele where I was able to stop doing Uber and Lyft. That was super sketchy as well. So yeah, got rid of that.
You would be the wrong Uber to mess with.
Yeah, I'm good, dude.
I mean, you could, like, John Wick the crap out of someone.
Dude, when you're driving through Kensington with
Never mind.
some random crackhead in your backseat, you're like, all right, dude, like, you can rob me right now, dude. It's all good.
Friend.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it was super sketchy. But yeah, like, thankfully just built up enough private lesson clientele where got rid of that, and just went all in with traveling and competing. Yeah, it's been cool.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah. Wow, that's good stuff. So, all right. So we're getting close to time here. What advice do you have for anyone who either just started training or someone who's, like, in training and they're trying to, like, find their way? Like, what advice would you give to someone right now who's doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I would say, especially early on, like, jiu-jitsu is so tough to be on the mats as is. Like, it's a hard enough sport to stay consistent with. So you have to find, like, a good atmosphere where you enjoy going in there. It shouldn't be like a chore to get up and go to wherever you're training. You should trust your training partners and not feel like I'm going to go in there and get hurt or something like that. And then with that, like, fertile ground, you can start to develop your game little by little and, like, get ready to tap. Like, who cares? It's just training. Tap a lot. Yeah, and then just, like, focus on your game little by little. Trying to find little correlations, like, not trying to muscle things. Like, if you're bigger and stronger than someone, like, I'm not bigger and stronger than too many people, but if, let's say I'm rolling with a 100-pound girl or something like that, if I'm trying to go technique for technique and they're, like, doing a good job of keeping up with me, I'm not going to try to, like, just shut that down with brute force.
Right.
That's, like, a loss on my part. So I think just trying to find that path of least resistance in all these different spots is really going to not only make your jiu-jitsu better, but just keep you safer in the long run, because you're not forcing things too hard.
Yeah. And because you're able to be aware of your body instead of just meeting force with force.
Exactly.
One more thing. I always like to ask about this. You know, they talk about, like, the ego death and all that nonsense. Like, I feel like when I talk to people about training, maybe this is just in my peer group, like blue to purple, there's a mentality that some people have, like, I don't care, but there's the folks who are like, I can't be tapped. Like, I can't, like, I gotta, like, I do really good in my gym, and, like, I can't let this person tap me because now they're or whatever it is, right? Yeah. Like, how is there advice for people to conquer that? Because I've talked about this before, right?
Yeah, I think anyone who says they don't have an ego in jiu-jitsu, I think is kind of lying. Like, I think you can have a healthy ego in jiu-jitsu because you want to perform well. You want to perform to the best of your abilities. But no, I think it should just be honest. Like if you get caught, you got caught. Like work on it, get better, and tap early enough where you can get back to training that next minute or whatever. Yeah, I think you should be thankful that there are people out there that can actually tap you and kind of punish you for dumb that you're doing or whatever. Like you need that, man. That's what separates us from all the other, sus martial arts out there, dude. Yeah.
Because there's one more part to this where I wonder, and sometimes I get, I guess before I took like the break for the kid, like I was so like, I'm competing and like I need to do this and work on this stuff. And now that I'm back, like I'm having so much fun. Yeah. Like I'm focused on things, but I'm more just happy to train, and I'm meeting each role with like, okay, I want to work on passing more now because I play bottom so much. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I should be playing top. So like my top skills when I'm stuck aren't bad, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So a question for you is how does someone know how to like, I guess, gauge those sort of things, right? And is there a balance to how much you should be putting in towards, this type of skill or another?
Yeah. I mean, from like a zoomed out perspective, you have the components of jiu-jitsu are like passing, playing guard, stand up, and then double pull, where both people are on the ground. Right. So those 4 components, you have to put time into each one. Some you can get away with a little more than others, depending on like what your goals are, or like your risk of injury, trying to mitigate that or whatever. Right. You can kind of move away from some of them a little bit, but at some point you have to focus on all of them. So taking that time to organize your jiu-jitsu as such, and just like put time into leveling them all up, and once again, not trying to feel like you're forcing any of these spots. If you're just hitting the same pass on someone over and over and over again, it's probably because there's like a skill differential there. So you should, try to pull it back a little bit and just work other things. And we call it being a pass hole. So sometimes you pass the guard, and then you don't want to just like hold them and just stay there for the rest of the 5 minutes. You like get up, you let them retain guard again, and then you rinse and repeat and try to sauce them in a different way. Yeah.
So I'm using that. That would be a shirt.
That's a good shirt. Yeah.
That would be a shirt. Yeah, put like the black belt, or put the belts there and then pass hole.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure out how to make that work.
I don't know who coined that. It might have been Mikey. I think it's a Mikey ism. Yeah.
That'll be a joint venture. We'll t-shirt. Awesome. Always a pleasure, Coach, Boss. How do people find you if they want to reach out, if they want private lessons so they can be the best of the best? Yeah. How do they reach out to you? What are your socials, your handles, and all that jazz?
Yeah, just hit me up on Instagram, Valor Ulysses, so VALOR.
Yep.
You can type.
I'll put the banner up there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. ULYSSES. But yeah, my last name is Boyer, BOYER. So if you type in any combination of those, I'm sure I'll pop up or something. So appreciate it, man.
And 10% off your lessons.
Yeah. Code.
If you use the soul.
Jiu-jitsu soul. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure. I know we're going to be training soon. I have plenty of questions. Like, I like that you kind of give me free lessons. I'll leave you with this. Dylan beat the crap out of me, as he should. And I was like, I have so many questions. And he looks over at me and he's like, then set up a private lesson. I was like, that's so bad. Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. There's a fine line, yeah.
There is a fine line. You got to make money, man.
Yeah.
You got to do it.